In my last video, I talked about the high school DxD characters with the most aura, and I had a lot of fun making that video. It was interesting thinking about the characters that were just oozing with aura. So of course, I had to do the opposite. The high school DxD characters with the least amount of aura. These characters on my list are some of the lamest characters you'll ever see. These characters wouldn't be able to buy aura. They'd get kicked out of the store. But before we get into the list, let me tell you my definition of aura again, just in case you forgot or you missed the last video. Aura to me is if a character can make you feel their presence when they're on the screen. It's how they make you feel when you see them. But again, the definition has kind of shifted to just how cool the character is, and I do kind of like that, so I'm gonna use both definitions. So using those two definitions, I compiled a list of characters with zero aura, and I'm gonna take you through their most aura collapsing moments. But before we get into the actual list, I had to hit you with the bait and switch. I again had some characters that just missed the list, so let me do the honorable mentions first. The first person that barely missed the list was Lefay Pendragon. She's only on this list because of her encounter with Soso. She brought in this super big strong giant monster, and it was supposed to be crazy, but then Soso just one-shots it. I mean, Soso just steals everyone's aura. That's why I call him the aura stealer. But that's not enough for me to put her on this list since it's not really her fault. Next on my list is Coriana. You probably have no idea who that is, but remember that girl on Cyborg's team that was stripping in front of Issei during the rating game, and then Issei just blasts her away immediately? Yeah, I don't really think I have to explain myself as to why that's a bad aura moment, but I almost get secondhand embarrassment watching that fight, doing all of that just to get blasted away immediately. The only reason she didn't make the list is because this is the only time we see her. Her aura was so low that she got written off the entire show. Next on the list was Beluga Furcus. I mean, just listen to his name, that's all I have to say. And then the last honorable mention was actually Diodora. He did all that talking just to get squashed by Issei, but at least he was doing something important. And those are all the honorable mentions. Now let's get into the real list. This first one kind of hurts me, but I had to put my boy Freed on this list. Freed might actually have negative aura. Like, he really doesn't do anything good. He gets passed around like a Netflix password. He loses every fight he's in. Nobody respects him, and he's just a lackey for someone every time we see him. He has it really rough in the aura department. It's almost charming that he's able to maintain an aura that low. I feel like the biggest reason why he has no aura is because he's such a goofy character. I mean, just look at this scene of him falling.
Yeah, I'm fucked.
Did I mention it takes some serious ass?
Come on, bruh. He's selling like Dolph Ziggler against Goldberg. He does not need to be doing all that. How am I supposed to take this guy seriously when this is how he falls? The only saving grace that Freed has is his comedy. He's got to be one of the funniest characters in the series, but even that's not enough to save him from his lack of aura. I mean, come on, dude. You're really working for Diodora? Diodora the Explorer, that guy? That's the guy that's controlling you? That's the guy you chose to work under? I get Kokabiel, you know, he's the leader of the Fallen Angels. You know, he's really strong, or he's supposed to be really strong, and he himself has some aura. But Diodora wouldn't be able to make me make a sandwich for him. So I have no idea why Freed would ever want to work under him or work with him. And of course, like I said earlier, Freed just can't fight. Like, he's actually god awful. This dude had an ultimate Excalibur sword that had like 4 Excaliburs fused into one, and somehow he still manages to look trash. Like, look at the way he got slumped over here. That man is asleep. He ate 2 people and stole their abilities, and he still couldn't win. He still couldn't get a win in a fight. Not only that, but he lost in one hit to Kiba. Freed's aura is definitely in the negatives. It's actually impossible to take this dude seriously, which, I mean, he might be funny, but that doesn't change the fact that he has no aura. So I'll give him an aura score of like negative 500k. The next one on my list is actually a 3-for-1 special. It's the 3 devil descendants, Shalba, Karuya, and Crusory. I don't even know where to begin with these 3. All these 3 do is just cry and complain. It's just wow, you guys stole my throne from me. But when it's time for them to step up and fight for themselves, they all pretty much got squashed. Actually, they all pretty much got one-shotted. Azazel fights Karuya with his hands in his pockets and makes her melt with his aura, and doesn't attack her until the very end, where he just one-shots her. Sir Zex fights Crusory and he literally kills him with his aura. Poor Crusory didn't even get a chance to attack him, but Sir Zex did give him a chance to run, so it's kind of his fault that he ended up dying. But he completely disintegrates him. And then Shalba did all that taunting towards Issei just to get his arms ripped off and blasted away. He was doing all that talking and then had the nerve to blame Volley for his loss.
Damn you! Red Dragon and White Dragon, damn you!
Buddy, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're gonna lose that fight either way, with or without the divine dividing. Those three were just clowns, and they completely embarrassed themselves. If you really think you should be the Devil Kings, you have to at least be able to put up a fight against the current leaders of the underworld, but they couldn't even do that. Those three each get a score of negative 100k from me. The next person on my list is Kokabiel. I know he was on the DxD characters with the most aura list, but there's two sides of Kokabiel. There's the one that fought against the Grimory team, and there's the one that fought against Volley, and the one that fought against Volley completely cancels out the other's aura. Volley came in and Kokabiel's energy completely shifts. Look at the picture of him fighting Issei versus him when he sees Volley. It's like he has multiple personalities. He completely embarrasses Kokabiel. He tears his wings off and then picks him up on his shoulders and takes him to the underworld, and Kokabiel just has to accept it like a child about to get spanked. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is Volley drops one of the hardest lines on Kokabiel.
You bastard! What are you trying to do?
Someone who's fallen lower than the ground hardly needs wings, don't you agree?
Volley stole all his aura points here. Not only did you lose the fight, but you also had poetry dropped on your head. And let's not forget, Kokabiel was kind of getting beat up by a perverted Issei. I don't care who you are. If you're actually about to lose to a perverted character, or a character powered by perversion, then you're going to lose some aura points no matter what. Now obviously Kokabiel wasn't going to lose that fight to Issei, but Issei was doing a little too much damage, especially when he didn't even have his balance breaker activated. Kokabiel was kind of a bum. It's like he used all of his aura points on that one scene where he fights everyone at the same time. He used all his aura there and then was completely exhausted for the rest of his time in the series. He had a great start, but then it was completely erased by one man. So I guess I'll give him an aura score of 0, since he did still have that really good start. I'll just say that it cancels out. The next one's actually a pretty obvious one, but it probably slipped your mind because of how forgettable this dude is. It's Connla. Connla is that random shadow user that Issei fought in season 4. If you can even remember that fight, kudos to you. But that guy's next on this list. All this dude does is glaze Soso and get whooped by Issei. That's literally all his character is. And it's kind of a shame because he has a cool power. The ability to control shadows is a cool power slash concept. But my god, he has to be the worst shadow controller I've ever seen. It doesn't really seem like he actually knows how to fight. The most he ever does is captures Issei for a second. But instead of delivering the final blow, he just stands there, probably glazing Soso in his head more. I don't think you could ever understand how much glazing this dude does for Soso. Issei explains to him that he's being used by Soso, and his response is pretty much just, heh, I don't care. You know, that's just how business works. Something along those lines. He basically just said that Soso can use him however he wants. And I get that's part of your character, but that's not going to help you in the aura department. You can't have aura when all you do is glaze another person. But besides for the glazing, this dude is just so forgettable that he literally just can't have aura even if he wasn't glazing Soso. Nobody remembers that this fight exists. Nobody remembers that this dude exists. And nobody cares about this guy. When this guy is on the screen, you don't feel his presence. You don't think, oh my god, it's Connla. You're just sitting there wondering who this little kid is. Like, he can't even make you think that Issei is about to lose this fight. That's how bad it is. So you have that, plus the fact that he can't think for himself. He definitely deserves to be on this list. Connla gets an aura score of negative 1,000,000 for me, somehow topping Freed. And since we're talking about the hero faction, we might as well get him out the way. You guys should know who's coming up next. It's Heracles from the hero faction. This dude makes me mad every time I see him. This is one of the most swagless, auraless, and disappointing characters I've ever seen. He quite possibly might have the worst transformation in anime history. Just look at this.
Here's my balance break! Pretty impressive stuff, isn't it?
It's so bad, especially compared to everyone else around him. Everyone else there had a cool transformation slash power. You know, Joan or Jean, whatever her name is, pulled out a dragon made of swords. Siegfried had 4 extra arms and each arm had a sacred gear in them. And he was willing to take on Zenobia and Kiba at the same time. Georg knows every spell from every mythology pretty much, and he was controlling Yasuka. And of course, Soso took on Issei without using his balance breaker and came out completely unscathed until Wukong joined the battle. And what does Heracles do? What is his big transformation slash power up? He grows spikes on his shoulders and bombs on his hands. It just looks so dumb. He looks like a Skylander. And it's not even believable when he beats Roswisa. Such a terrible character and such a waste of time. He shouldn't have even been there. You were better off just having Siegfried take on Roswisa too, because this dude is just an eyesore to look at. Negative infinity aura for Heracles. He really needs to change his name because he does not deserve to be named after a character as legendary as Heracles. A god-awful character. The next person on this list is actually the inspiration for this list. When I think of characters with no aura, this is the guy I think of. And that guy is Dohnaseek. Dohnaseek is an interesting one because this dude really thinks he's the main character. He does everything in the strangest, most unusual way. Every time we see him, he's posing, and he talks like he's trying to be mysterious. It's so weird. It feels like he's breaking the fourth wall, but he's not. It's so bizarre. Just look at these scenes right here. Like, why is he posing like that? Buddy, you're the only character that does this. He thinks he's in an anime or something. And the way he talks like he's the best person in the room at all times, it's almost adorable. But definitely my favorite moment is this one right here.
Teach you not to meddle where you don't belong. I'm done with you!
So he tries and fails to attack the Grimoire team multiple times, and he's clearly starting to feel embarrassed. You can almost see the blood rushing to his face. So he decides to scream, "I'm done with you," and charges them at full power and speed and instantly gets blasted away. His hat flies off and everything. This quite possibly might be the biggest aura loss in anime history. This one scene instantly put him in the negative infinity territory, but it doesn't end there. He gets up, grabs his hat, and goes back to his signature pose, trying to play off what just happened. Someone please get this man. He was definitely struggling to find that hat. I know he was. He's such a weird character. I've never seen a character like him before. It's like he knows he's in an anime. I don't know. All I know is that I'm glad that Rias ended him for us. I don't even think I can put a number on him. That's how low his aura score is. I can't even give him a number. But all I know is that it's lower than negative infinity. And then the last person on my list is a pretty obvious one. So let's say it together on 3. 3, 2, 1, it's Diodora. Did you really think I was gonna let him off the hook? Did you really think he was actually just going to be an honorable mention? Well, obviously he's not. Diodora 100% deserves to be on this list. I mean, he has to be the dumbest villain in the entire series. He single-handedly ruins the entire Chaos Brigade's plan during the raiding game between him and Rias. So he had a very suspicious glow up in power. Like, he went from being decently strong to like way too strong for Diodora. And he did a really bad job at hiding it, and this led to the leaders investigating him, which led to them figuring out that the Chaos Brigade planned on crashing the raiding game. So basically, he just set all those people up to die. He's just a complete failure. Like, just look at the way Issei kills him on this promo.
Love, darling. You ain't gonna beat me, Diodora ass to mouth. I'll show you the kind of badass power this filthy dragon's got. Then I'm gonna jumpstart your face.
Come on, bro. Dildo raw ass to mouth. And then he had no response to that. You know that one hurt him. He got completely killed on the mic and then didn't even respond. That's definitely a negative aura type move. It's like nobody respects him either. The fact that Issei could just say this without any type of fear in his heart tells you something. But even Freed, the Freed that's never won a fight in his life, even he makes fun of Diodora. He calls him Diodora the Explorer. Like, he just casually drops that line out of nowhere. So even that guy doesn't respect you, and that guy hasn't won a fight in his entire life. So nobody likes him, nobody respects him. They don't think he's good enough to get strong by himself. He's pretty much just a loser. Even the way he dies is auraless.
Help me. Imagine if both the old and current Devil Kings combine their strength.
And thus a maggot dies.
Honestly, that's like plus 1,000,000 aura for Shalba. Shalba probably shouldn't even be on this list after that. And then he calls him a maggot and everything. Yeah, bro, nobody respected Diodora. He gets rejected by his crush, so he decides that the next rational idea is to kidnap her. And then he gets whooped by the girl's boyfriend and then starts begging him for mercy. He just doesn't scream aura. He actually screams the complete opposite. Definitely gets a negative infinity aura too. But he'll still go right below Heracles since at least he's not that bad. I don't think think you can ever be as auraless as that guy. Diodora might be loved by absolutely nobody, and he might have 0 aura, but hey, at least, yeah, I actually can't think of anything positive to say about this guy. Just in the video right there. And that's that video right there. My bad, this video was supposed to come out way before this time, but of course I was just busy, so my bad for the late upload. But man, I was really trying to get 4 videos in 1 week, but I just couldn't do it. I got 3, but I couldn't get the 4. This whole experience taught me that editing videos takes way longer than I initially thought. Usually I like to edit videos at different times. I don't ever just sit down and edit, but because I was trying to do 4 videos in a week, I was kind of forced to just edit in one sitting, and man, that was rough. It was literally just editing all day. So let's just go back to the regular weekly uploads. I might throw in like a video in between every once in a while, but I'll just stick to the weekly. So since I was late on this video, which kind of means the promise of having 2 videos uploaded back to back was broken, I'll get a tier list video up next week for the people who wanted a tier list. It's not going to be about aura, obviously. It's going to be about something else, but it'll be a tier list video for the people that really wanted it. So you can look forward to that, I guess. But anyways, I'm gonna get out of here. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.